Are you downsizing? Maybe need more room because of additions to the family, or possibly seeking that dream home you've always wanted? Well, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the guy for you. With a proven track record and multiple awards, Tim goes above and beyond to find out your needs and exactly what you're looking for. So if you're seeking a new home or trying to sell your current one, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or check him out on Facebook at Tim Eisner. Again, that's 902-499-5717. Trust me, when all is said and done, we'll be saying Tim Eisner strikes again. What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Welcome to episode 59 of Outside the Chute. I'm your host, Randy Frame. Gonna start off by giving a huge shout out to our Canadian women's national team on bringing home the country's first ever medal in softball after a 3-2 win over Mexico in the bronze medal game. They played absolutely fantastic. You know, losing 1-0 games to both gold medal winning Japan and silver medalist USA just goes to show you how close they were. Also need to give a massive shout out to 5 of our past guests who are hanging it up with their time on Team Canada. Lauren Regula, Victoria Hayward, Daniel Laurie, Jen Salling, and of course Nova Scotia native head coach Mark Smith. Congrats to all of you on amazing careers. The foundation you've laid for our future in the game here in the country is unparalleled. So on behalf of Outside the Chute, I'd like to say thank you. This week's OTC Player of the Week comes to us from Kansas City, Missouri, as Bailey Brumley takes home the honors. Bailey had an incredible week at the USA Nationals in South Dakota as she hit .536 in 9 games with 2 doubles, 8 home runs, and 20 RBIs, while also getting 3 wins on the mound with 16 strikeouts and a 2.10 ERA, as her and the KC Zephyrs went 6-3 for a 7th place finish. Great job, Bailey. Best of luck going forward. On to this week's guest, and we sat down and chatted with co-editor at D1Softball.com and UCLA Golden Bears alum, Tara Henry. Tara had a fantastic college career with UCLA as she would compete at 3 Women's College World Series between 2004 and 2006, winning the prestigious championship in her freshman season. Since then, she has co-founded an organization called Run the Bases, where they focus on inclusion and gender equality through softball, as well as she is the co-editor with D1Softball.com. We're going to talk to Tara about getting her start in the game down in California, her recruiting process to UCLA, the 2004 Women's College World Series win, and of course everything else Tara has on the go today. It was such a blast to be able to chat with Tara, as she is someone who has an absolute passion for the game, and it was great to hear her share her journey in the game with us. This was definitely one of the favorite chats I've personally had the pleasure of doing. With that being said, grab that drink, sit back, relax, because here we go.
I got the world in my palm, lights, camera, action, it's on. I can't describe what I'm feeling, ain't never felt this freedom. I got the world in my palm, lights, camera, action, it's on. Ain't never felt this freedom. Could you say that anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes.
All right, here we go. Tara, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
How are things going down in Cali?
You know, I can't complain. The weather's beautiful and just enjoying a little bit of the off season, but super happy that we've got softball happening, you know, all over the world right now at the moment.
Absolutely. Now, I got to say, I got home from ball last night playing myself, and I chucked on Instagram. And I saw you and friend of our show here, Sam Fisher, had a little chat yesterday about the Olympics. Now,
we did.
First off, how fun is Sam to chat with?
Oh my goodness. You know, Sam is probably one of the most fun interviews we've actually had on D1 softball. And she's just great for the game. Her story is incredible. And she's just a joy to speak with. And we had such a fun conversation. And you know, we talked about the fact that she's played with almost every single player on both sides, on Team Mexico and Team USA. And so it was just really fun to kind of pick her brain and talk to her about what she thought was going to happen, in the game yesterday evening.
Absolutely. I always say, I said, that question, if you had 3 people in the world to sit down and have drinks and dinner with, Sam is on my list. I can tell you that much.
Gosh, I love it. Does she know that? We've got to tell her.
Oh, actually, when I saw that you talked, I sent her a message last night. I said, "Oh, I'm talking to Tara tomorrow." She's like, "Oh, that's great. She's so fantastic." So I figured, why not? We can start off talking about the Olympics off the get go.
Sure.
After all teams have played 3 games as of this recording. What's Tara's take on what's happened so far?
I'm just so surprised we aren't seeing a ton of offense. I think pitching has dominated most of the games, and they've all been very close. Historically, in terms of international ball, there's a huge gap in between, some teams. And, we've got US, Japan, and Canada all in the lead, but Mexico put up a fight against both Japan and the US. It was just kind of one pitch for the US to score those 2 runs on Ali Aguilar's single. And the next couple of days, they're going to shake out and see who's going to be in this gold medal round. And, there's potential that there could be a tie between all 3. A couple things have to happen. But, it's just been a joy to watch, and just happy that softball's back in the Olympics, and hopefully people around the world are enjoying it and want to get more involved in terms of, having other nations just competing. And it's just a joy that softball is back.
Yeah, absolutely. This has to be by far the closest Olympic game so far, as far as competition goes. I wanted to ask, there's so many storylines going on in this right now. US hasn't given up a run. Their pitching staff with Monica and Kat has just been dominating. Sarah Groenewegen with Canada. She's making a name for herself. She's when not on the mound, she's getting clutch hits. But actually, that's one thing I wanted to ask. Are you surprised that Sarah's not in hitting for Team Canada?
Yes, I am. We've got a little group, Fred, amongst our D1 softball fantasy group. And that was kind of one of the things that we discussed at length, that we were surprised that Sarah wasn't hitting. And then she was put in as a pinch hitter, and she got that big double against the U.S. And, she's doing her job in the circle. And I think, Mark Smith has done an incredible job getting Canada ready for the games. Yes. They trained together in Florida. Danielle Laurie looks great. And, and it's just been fun to watch their growth. And yes, I'm surprised she's not hitting, but she's got a pitch as well. So, I'm interested in that. And then Anissa Ortez for Mexico, she's done a fantastic job at the plate and at short. So she stood out as well. And I was really impressed with Goto, the relief pitcher for Japan. And I'd watched her in the junior championships. And when they put her in relief for Bueno the other evening against Mexico, I was not surprised that she did so well. She's a stud and one to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, for sure. I want to talk about Italy for a second. They're they're doing way better than I think a lot of people thought they would. I mean, they're staying in every game they're in.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I actually have watched Italy at length in the Europeans, and they've added a few Italian Americans to the team as well. But, Amanda Fama, she provides great leadership. You got Carasoni and, of course, Erica Piancastelli. And she's just been great to watch, not only, in Athletes Unlimited, but she's a great leader. So, they're holding their own. And their 2 hurlers, as Cacchetti and Lacatina, the young one that's going to Kentucky, they've done an incredible job in the circle. I didn't get to actually watch their game last night. I'm going to go watch the replay, but I've been really impressed with Italy, and like we said, there's been some close games all the way around. There's not been too many blowouts.
Yeah. How huge is that Canada-Japan matchup later on tonight?
Oh, it's massive. Yeah.
I know.
If Canada beats Japan, and then if Japan beats US, that's a 3-way tie. And then it goes to the runs allowed. And right now, I believe they're all tied for runs allowed at 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so close. Like like you know what, the way things have been going, the last 2 years, pandemic and everything, I would not be surprised if there's a 3-way tie just to mess with everybody.
Stranger things have happened, but you're right. That game against Japan and Canada is going to be big tonight. And, Japan had a tough outing against Mexico. And I think that shows that, they're beatable. Mm-hmm. And Mexico had them on the ropes. And I believe Canada has put together an incredible pitching staff. Lonnie Almeida is there with them. So, she's, helping out with that staff. And they've got four that can go at any time. So that'll be pivotal tonight for the standings.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Smitty still goes by pitch by committee tonight with, going with everybody like he has.
I would say that it's going to happen again. It's worked thus far. Yeah. I don't see why not. And maybe just the plan is to go once through the lineup and give everybody a shot and making sure that they don't get too many looks. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do pitching by committee again. I think it's worked for them. And, it's been something that has been successful. And I'm just excited to see how that whole thing pans out. Every single game that's on, I'm excited to watch. And it hasn't always been that way. I think it's just because they've all been so close.
Yeah. Big question for you. Now, this is, when this is released, it's going to be next Monday. So the games will be over. I'm going to,
oh my goodness.
I'm going to throw the big question at you. Who's in the finals? Who's taking gold?
Oh my goodness. I think it's going to be U.S. and Japan. Okay. I think Canada will give both a run for their money, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be U.S. and Japan. But the way that the U.S. is pitching and they're figuring out how to score runs. We talked about this with Sam. They're not hitting the long ball, but they're getting it done, and they're just kind of scratching and clawing and figuring out a way to win these ball games. I'm going to go with the U.S. I wouldn't have said that going into the tournament. I would have said Japan hands down, but I think they're starting to hit their stride, and they've got some momentum, and they're starting to play really well, and they're starting to play as a team. Yeah,
well, if it is U.S. and Japan, I think Kat and Monica will are looking for a little bit redemption from 2008.
Absolutely. I think that's another key factor as well. I think they're still a little bit hungry from that big loss.
Yeah. All right. Little thing that we like to start the podcast off with, even though, we're 10 minutes in, but
start it off. We've been chatting for a while.
Little thing we call quick pitches. I'm going to throw 10 random questions to you, and you answer them as best you can.
All right. I'm ready.
All right, here we go. First one. What's the one thing you missed the most from UCLA?
Oh my goodness. It's a funny thing, but I used to have oatmeal every morning after weights at this place called the Coop. And it was my favorite thing at UCLA. It's kind of random and weird, but it's no longer there. They took the restaurant out, but I loved having my oatmeal after weights or running every morning. It just was my routine, and I loved it.
Right on. Who doesn't love oatmeal?
I know, right?
Who's your early pick to win the Women's College World Series next season?
Oh my gosh, are you serious with this right now?
Throwing them out there.
Gosh, Tennessee has picked up a ton of transfers in the offseason. I'm just shocked at what's happening. Obviously OU is, they've got Hope Trotwine from North Texas. I think they're going to obviously be contending again. And, you can't never leave Florida State out of it, or UCLA. So, I really like what's happening with Tennessee and what they're doing, but I'm going to have to go with OU and the fact that they just have completely, they're just dominated last season, and
they still get those fab freshmen coming back. So
I know it's just, I hate to just go with it, but I would say right now, if you're asking me, OU it would be the front runner.
All right. Where's one place you haven't traveled to yet that you'd love to go?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say, well, I've been to South Africa, but I really would like to go to Cape Town. I've never been to Cape Town. So that's one of the places on the list.
Right on. What's your go-to wine of choice?
Oh, my goodness. Wine of choice. I drink more white these days. Frank Family Reserve Chardonnay used to be a fave, but now it's oyster-based Sauvignon Blanc because it's just, it's and it does the job. It's really delicious.
Okay. See, I like a good Riesling. I love a good Riesling.
Oh, really?
Yes.
All right.
If you could go back and replay one game in your career, which one is it?
Oh, gosh, probably the national championship game against Michigan when I popped up 2 bunts off of Johnny Ritter as the number 2 hitter. Gosh, that was difficult. And would love to go back and replay that more in terms of mindset, I think. But, when you face adversity and you face challenges in your career and you fail, and I think that's when we obviously learn the most. And from that point on, I believe my work ethic, my mental toughness and emotional, working on the emotional, mental part of the game grew exponentially. And my next 2 years, I really focused on that. So I would love to replay that game just because I think as you grow and get older, it's not as big as you once thought it was. But yeah, that would be the one I would replay for sure.
All right. What's the fastest you've gone on a motorcycle?
Oh my goodness. 130.
Holy cow. That's crazy. That's going to be a rush though.
Yeah, 120, 130. It might have been in kilometers, but somewhere around there.
Oh
yeah.
my jumpins. Like, what's going through the mind when you're going that fast?
I hope we don't fall off.
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely see it. Oh my God.
No, riding is great. It's just a way to kind of be in your own space and place and clear the mind. And I really enjoyed picking that up after softball. And now I would say now my motorcycling rush has turned into sailing. So I started sailing. So I'm doing some regattas and sailing here in California, which I'm actually enjoying a little bit more because you're part of a team. And I've missed that. I miss being a part of a team and working together for a common goal. So yes, motorcycles, but I would say now I'm on to sailing in terms of my hobbies.
Right on. If you had to live off one meal for a week, what is it?
Popcorn. Fresh popcorn.
Popcorn. Okay.
That's it. Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, very true. Yeah, just pop her in the microwave or
I don't know how nutritious
it
is, but I love popcorn. I brought like fresh popcorn while I'm watching games.
Yeah.
I just put it on this on the stove. And it's one of my that and probably bone broth, chicken bone broth, super boring, but
Okay.
2 easy things.
Well, you can't go wrong with popcorn though.
No.
Mm-mm. Best thing about living in California?
The weather.
Yeah, I figured.
I mean, that's easy.
Yeah. 2 more. Does pineapple belong on pizza?
Oh, well, I did live in Italy for a couple of months in the north, and my Italian family would be very against me saying that it does. Now, do I mind pineapple on my pizza? I'll eat it, but I don't think it really belongs on there. I think I'm more of a traditionalist, and favorite piece of pizza would have been in Napoli. They have the best pizza in the South, in my opinion. And no, I don't think that pineapple belongs on pizza.
Perfect. I don't either. Last one. How amazing was this year's Women's College World Series?
It was honestly, it was the best Women's College World Series I've ever been to. And I've been to a lot. I played in a few. I've been a fan for a ton. And then this was the first year I got to cover the Women's College World Series. And it was incredible. And ESPN has done a great job in terms of allowing viewers to be a part of the game and be a part of stories, and just the access that they have to all this information, and the fact that we get to watch these games all season long. The SEC network, the ACC network allows us to feel more involved. And it was just, between JMU and Odyssey Alexander, and OU coming back, and Montana Fouts' perfect game against UCLA. The list goes on. Mackenzie Donahue's performance, or breakout performance, it just goes on. And it was incredible. And we figured that we were going to have an incredible World Series because of the time off and the fact that players and coaches had stepped back and really started to appreciate the game more. And I believe that's what we saw. And people were just happy to be back on the field, and it showed through the play. And I had the best time, and really love going to Oklahoma City. It feels like home going over there.
Yeah, it was unbelievable to watch. The whole JMU ride was, I think that added quite a bit to it. And Odyssey Alexander, she was just a monster. And then, like you said, throw in Montana Fouts' perfect game, and wasn't it was the maximum amount of games were played, was it not?
I believe so. Oh, you're asking me a question. I'm trying to think back. Yeah, because it was they both had to win twice.
That's right. So yeah, so
we got a full slate. We got a full slate.
And
it was amazing.
Yeah, and then throw in the fact that they added the upper deck. I saw the video of you getting there, and how much, from your perspective, what did that add to the facility? Because the atmosphere there already is second to none, but adding that upper tier just had to put it crazy above.
It just made it feel bigger. It just made it felt like you were playing or watching or sitting in a major league stadium. Obviously much smaller, but that upper deck just makes a statement. And, when the whole stadium is packed, it's just the energy and the enthusiasm, and you can see how much our game has grown, and you've got the bleachers packed in the back, and it's a huge step in the right direction. Now, are there still other things that need to happen? Of course, but the addition of that upper deck, other than it blocking the wind a bit, because it does block the wind on the field, right, which is better, obviously, as an outfielder. I would have loved that. The whole thing felt bigger. And it was just amazing to be there for that first game and see the stands packed. It was super hard to actually get in to the games. It was really packed around the stadium. You had to leave early, especially if OU was playing. At one point, we had to leave an hour and a half early just to make sure that we could get into the game in time. And that shows you how much our sport has grown in itself. Well,
yeah, even the numbers that came out for the TV numbers were phenomenal.
And you couldn't ask for anything better. I think it was 2.1 million viewers, and the average over each game. And we had the 3:00 championship game. And imagine if that was during prime time, what the numbers would have been.
Oh, I know. But I think having that OU Washington matchup at Supers leading into it, I think may have helped a lot for it. You know what I mean?
I think so as well. Obviously, I have other thoughts on them. Washington being a 16 seed, but
yes,
we don't want to beat a dead horse.
Yeah.
I know that I have other thoughts on that, but yes, that was a great super regional, and I think it just set us up to have an incredible Women's College World Series. Just a shame that they were paired up with OU in that 1-16 seed.
Yep, for sure. All right, so we're 20 minutes in. Let's get on to your career now. So, Tara, tell us about getting your start in the game, when you were younger.
I started playing softball when I think I was 4 or 5 at Tustin Bobby Sox, just the local league. And my mom was my coach. And I played a ton of sports when I was a kid. I played softball, soccer, basketball, tennis, golf, and played, and I actually was a dancer as well.
Oh.
My mom thought it was really important that I danced till I was about 11 or 12, and just for balance and coordination. And so I was playing a ton of sports, and finally my mother said to me, Tara, I can't be driving you around to all these different games and practices, because I was going to basketball practice, and then I'd have a soccer game, and then I'd have a softball game. And she finally just said, I need you to choose. And I said, my best friend plays softball. I like softball. I'll just choose softball. So I chose softball. And that's kind of how it went. And then played on various kind of club teams here in SoCal, and for the Batbusters, Orange County Batbusters, the Athletics, and California Squeeze at one point, and then landed on the OC Batbusters with Gary Henning, who used to coach the Batbusters back in the day. And as a sophomore, so I played on 18 Gold, starting as a sophomore, and then was recruited and fortunate enough to head to UCLA and play for the Bruins. And it was just, it was a lot of hard work, but also I enjoyed the game so much, and loved travel ball, loved club ball. I loved my club team. We still stay in touch to this day. And
Oh, nice.
I'm just really fortunate to be a part of a team sport and learn how to be a part of a team and be with, all kinds of different people from all different kinds of places and walks of life.
Absolutely. Now, was there a certain age that you can remember where you were like, I think I can do something with this game?
Yeah, I think probably 14, I would say 14. I was playing for Doug Myers, and I remember my mom and dad speaking about, oh my gosh, you're taking Tara all these softball games, you're doing all this. And I remember my mom saying, Frank, to my dad, you have no idea. And I think my mom's belief in me, and she always instilled this sense of positive attitude, and to, manage your failures and learn from them and any mistakes. And just have to really actually thank my mother, because she was always there. She kept score in every single game I've ever played. So she's got scorebooks still to this day in my parents' garage. She's scored every single game, and she still has those scorebooks.
That's amazing.
And yeah, she's an incredible scorer, and she still scores the Dodger games.
Is that right?
Yeah, she does.
Wow.
So
she must have been happy with this past season.
Yeah, she was. She's a huge Dodger fan, and baseball's always been a part of our family. My grandfather played in the Mexican leagues for the Mexicali Águilas.
Oh wow! And
was a catcher there, and I never got to meet him. He passed away before I was born, but he was always a baseball player, and so my mom and my aunt always were Dodgers fans, and I think at such a young age, I just always had baseball on TV. Brett Butler was my favorite player for the Dodgers.
All right, yeah.
And I used to just sit and watch Dodger games as a kid and listen to Vin Scully. So I think softball, baseball has always kind of been in my heart and soul.
What a legend, Vin Scully.
Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Miss him.
Now, you said your mom and your aunt were Dodgers fans, and yourself. What was your dad?
Well, it's funny because my dad and my brothers were kind of Angels fans. Well, my one brother is a huge Cubs fan, and it's because we had WGN at the house. So he watched WGN and watched the Cubs. So he's a massive Cubs fan. And so I would say the two of them now are more Cubs fans as well, with my other brother.
Okay.
So there's a definite divide in the house. We've got my mom and I are Dodgers fans. And then the boys, my two brothers and my father, they're more Cubs fans.
Wow. That is definitely a divide right there.
Yeah, I mean, the women obviously know better, but it is what it is.
Obviously they do. I mean, Dodgers just won the World Series, so you guys know your teams.
Yeah.
Now, you had some pretty good success in high school and travel ball, including like 2 national ASA titles with the Batbusters.
Yes.
Was there much difference with the recruiting process back then compared to how it is today?
Yes. I think it's going back to how it I hope it's going back to how it used to be, because in terms of your recruiting process, obviously as a junior, you would, start speaking to colleges. And then as a senior, you would take your official visits, and you're allowed 5 official visits. And I only took 3. I took a official visit to UCLA, Florida State, and North Carolina at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it just allowed you to not only experience the team and the coaches, but to see the campus and, get to know where you're going to live, the city, the town. And, that went away for a long time. Kids were committing at such a young age. They weren't fully developed. And, I changed from when I was 13, 14 to 18.
Well, yeah, everybody does.
A huge amount. And that was always my issue with this early recruiting. And I hope that now it will go back to what it used to be, because it was good for the team to meet the recruit, and for the recruit to meet the team and get to know one another and see if it's going to be a good fit. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be there for 4 years. Well, you hope, because the transfer portal wasn't really something that you dealt with back then. And now it's just out of control. And, we're also going to have to look at this NIL, name, image, and likeness.
Yes.
It's going to be a huge recruiting tool. And, players are going to start making money off their name, image, and likeness. So that's going to throw another wrinkle into all of this. And I think that's going to be something that we all need to watch and see how it plays out, because it's going to have a huge impact on recruiting and really on the game.
Yeah. Now, funny you brought that up, because I talked to Riker Chasen there a few days ago, which he's coming out. He's coming out this Monday, and I talked about the whole nil thing that's going on, and I said Aaliyah Andrews is one person that I think is definitely going to benefit from this.
I think a lot of players are going to benefit from this. I think she's one of them.
Yeah.
And anybody with a massive social media following, they're going to benefit just because they've got the brand already, and companies are going to want exposure for their products or their services. And, it's interesting, because if you compare baseball to softball, you've got this. I would argue the softball players have more reach and will be a more attractive brand and market for companies than women or men's college baseball.
100%.
There's just, it's just facts. And Lee Andrews, I think Lauren Burke as well. And obviously Montana Fouts. Haley Cruz is obviously no longer with the Oregon Ducks, but she was one that kind of started it all. And it's a shame, because she's done a heck of a job with her social media accounts and growing her following. But I think it's something we need to all keep an eye on, and how it impacts teams and their play.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what led to the decision to attend UCLA?
Well, that's easy. My mother, father, and both my brothers went to UCLA.
Oh.
So
no brainer.
It was. But I mean, growing up, you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is one of the best programs in the country. This is a lot of pressure. I mean, they have the most national championships. It was Sue Inquist, legend. And, the whole family went. We still, to this day, tailgate at football games, and it's just always been a part of the family. I think my mom and dad both bleed blue and gold, and I would argue my brothers and myself do too, and just always been a part of the family. It was close to home, and always wanted to compete in the College World Series, and they'd gone every year, and it was just a goal. And it was a small player. It was pretty little in terms of other players around the world. And I think I always just wanted to play and be with the best, and didn't matter that I wasn't going to start, or I always just wanted to earn my spot and make sure that I played with the best, and just was really lucky and fortunate that they would have me.
So what was it like going into that championship culture as a freshman? I mean, I'm sure there had to be some nerves.
There was. I mean, we also, like you had mentioned, we'd won back-to-back national championships for ASA at the time,
Right.
and played under Gary Henning, and a lot of the players, were actually from the Batbusters. So that part, Lisa Dodd and I played together, and Jasa Krebs was on the Batbusters as well, and then Kira Garrell, she was on the Batbusters. So going in, and I knew, and Andrea Duran, oh my gosh, I can't even believe Dre. She was our third baseman. So I knew a ton of players, but still it's a huge jump from, travel ball to college, and just they're bigger, stronger, faster. And was able to play a little bit my freshman year, and then I got hurt. Actually got beat out by a senior who was there. She was incredible, hard worker, Julie Hoshizaki. In left field, but I then became the pinch runner in the World Series. So I was able to score one of the runs in the championship game, and I'll never forget that. It was just to be a part of that team, and we had such an incredible senior class with great leadership, and Kira Garrell and Claire Sua, and it was just an incredible experience that I'll never forget, stepping on that field and looking around and being in Oklahoma City and playing at the highest level of our sport at the time. It was just a dream come true.
No doubt. I'm going to, before that Women's College World Series, I was going to ask about the first 25 games of the season you guys won. That your freshman season. Yeah. Was there a point you were like, are we ever going to lose?
Yeah, actually, yes. And that year, it's so funny. I don't know if anyone's ever told this story, but we were all in one of the mess halls, or one of the, I can't remember which one we were in, but we were all having breakfast, and there were probably a handful of us and sitting in there, and there was this Lucky Charms bowl of Lucky Charms. It was like a bin, so everybody went in to get their cereal out of this Lucky Charms bin, and it was massive. And I think there were maybe 8 or 9 of us. And we always used to play this game where someone would say something saying, okay, if we do this, we're winning the College World Series. and it's something at UCLA that it was a tradition, and it was always something like outrageous, but attainable. Right. So we had this massive bin of Lucky Charms, and somebody says, hey, if we eat this whole bin of Lucky Charms, we're going to win the World Series. And so sure enough, there we go. All 8 of us are just trying to just devour this whole bin of Lucky Charms. And I'm telling pounds and pounds of it.
Wow.
And I mean, one of my teammates, Ashley Herrera, had to walk outside. She threw up, came back in. It was to the point where it was insane. But that was the mentality. Everybody worked as a team. It was very uncommon that we would lose. And I remember the games in Fresno State. We played Jamie Southern, and big matchups against Margie Wright. And I just think it was a winning culture. It was a winning team, and losing was just never an option. And I remember those first 25 games. Yeah. It was like, are we ever going to lose? And thank God we did, because it was one of those things where I'm like, oh my gosh, are we going to go undefeated this whole season? But yeah, no, it was a great experience.
No doubt. My 6-year-old daughter loves Lucky Charms, by the way.
I don't really have them anymore after that, but
I imagine you're sick of them.
It obviously worked.
Yeah.
It obviously worked. I mean, Andrea Duran was there, and Caitlin Bainey, Kristen Dedman, Ashley Herrera, I think Shayna Stewart. It was Lisa Dodd as well. I think it was more the younger classmen, but gosh, it's such a funny story, and we always talk about it. It was the Lucky Charms. Nothing to do with the play.
No,
it was the
nothing.
Lucky Charms.
It was all the Lucky Charms. So, I mean, like you said, you go on 11th national championship, of course, back-to-back titles. How amazing was that feeling?
They'd won the year before, so coming in, we had a pretty big freshman class, and
I think there was 8 of you.
So, yeah, it was. We had a good mix of veterans and youth on the team at that time, and I think Kira carried us in the circle, but the freshman class kind of picked up the pieces. Jody Legaspi was at short, Lisa Dodd was at first, and just Kristen Dedman with a big clutch hit as a pinch hitter. She just had ice in her veins, and it was the right mix. And obviously Sue Inquist has just always got us ready. She put us in pressure situations at practice, so it made the game feel, game day feel pretty normal for us. Yeah. And she's an incredible coach and still a good friend to this day, and talk to her every once in a while. And she's simply one of the best to ever coach the game.
Absolutely. So what was the biggest thing that you think you took away from your freshman season?
Oh, I think just being a part of a team and being a role player. And, I'd started everywhere it went. Mm-hmm. And I think it made me appreciate every aspect of a team, because my name wasn't being called in the lineup. And that was probably a really big sting at first, but then I really think at the end of the day, it really helped shape my views on team and how important it is for everybody to buy in and be a part of the same goal, whether they're starting or not. Right. And that was a huge adjustment, and learning from the seniors and upper class and just how to be and how to win and how to work hard, but also have some balance too. So, that freshman season was really eye-opening, and just being able to be a part of that team was really special. No doubt.
Now I got to touch on your sophomore season. You guys make it back to the Women's College World Series.
Oh, God.
Just come up short of the three-peat. Mm-hmm. But one thing I wanted to touch on, though, was the fact that you guys had to go through Kat and Monica just to make the finals. Like, that's pretty crazy and a victory in itself, I think.
Oh, yeah. We had both their numbers every time. I don't know what it was, but, Andrea Duran, I think she had was it inside the park home run or a triple? I think it's inside the park home run down the right field line against Kat. And she was incredible. And, we played Monica. She just threw so hard. She threw so hard. She didn't really have her change back then. We were really good at having a plan and sticking to it. And the only way I remember our game plan against her is just, number one, to kind of keep her off balance timing wise, because she does like to work in a rhythm. Mm-hmm. So keep her off balance. And then, just swinging at strikes, which was really difficult to do because she just was incredible, and her rise was really difficult to pick up. But my goal simply as a slapper was just try to touch it. Yeah. And I just seemed to be successful in letting her supply it. And just back control. And we did. We had to go through Kat and Monica, which are, obviously the two pitchers that are throwing in the Olympics at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And I could not hit off a Kat. I had a heck of a time. She's so tough on lefty-lefty matchups on slappers. Right. It was just impossible. And then Megan Willis behind the dish, just chatting it up. Yeah. And but that sophomore season against Michigan, we talked about, it popped up 2 bunts in championship game. And it was so close because we'd won game 1, and that was the first time they went to a 3-game series. And we'd beat them game 1, and then we dropped games 2 and 3. And so that was tough. And, it's just so little between winning and losing. Yeah. And you realize that once you've done both, it's like a minute difference sometimes. And but no, I think, like I said, I think it was a good learning experience for me. And I would say my junior and senior season, I really reflected back on that and how to be better.
Right. Now you said, you were known as a lefty slapper. How pumped were you to hit a home run in your senior season?
I know. Well, the great part about that is my senior season, I was really lucky in that Natasha Watley came back from Japan. And so I was able to actually hit in the cage with Tosh every day.
Oh, wow.
So just talking about the game with her, working on slaps, bunts, soft slaps, hard slap, hitting away, shuffle step. I implemented a shuffle step my junior and senior year and just expanded the game. And I was really lucky to work with her. And I believe a lot of the success I was able to have my senior season is due to Tosh. And, I hit that home run in Long Beach, and it actually didn't go over the fence because Long Beach fences are massive. So it's actually, I think, on a slow pitch field. And I just hit a shot to right center, and it was an inside the park home run. I mean, they weren't close to even getting me at home, but
still a home run.
It was a home run, but it wasn't over the fence. I mean, I think these days with these bats, maybe I could have hit one. But back in the day, those were the synergies. They weren't bad.
Yeah,
they weren't bad, but it was pretty fun. And my family was there. I remember Coach Inquist. She had retired, but she was in the stands. And
oh, nice.
And it was and Kristen Dedman. She was the first one at home plate. One of my good friends on the team, and it was pretty special. And everybody was there, and it was the first one and only one in my career.
That's awesome. You go on to have fantastic 4 years at UCLA, hitting above 300 your final 2 seasons. What's your biggest takeaway, do you feel, from your time there?
I think we always talk about the game and softball and the national championships and the batting averages and whatnot. But some of my best friends I met at UCLA, one of them being Jen Schroeder. And it's about the people at the end of the day. And I think what makes UCLA so special, and I think there's a hint of jealousy when you're not in the Bruin bubble, is that we are super close. And I can call anybody in terms of alumni or coaches or anybody that's involved with the program, and they would drop everything for you. And I think that's really why it's so special, because it is a family. It is a Bruin family, and everybody still hangs out, and we'll have, Bruin barbecues, and we see one another. And I think that's really special. And the alumni is super important at UCLA. And I think that helps the current players. They see the support, and they can look up and know that we've been in their shoes at one point. We might be a lot older now, but we've been in their shoes. So that's really special. I think that's a really special thing about UCLA, and it's really unique. I think other programs are beginning to build that, but the tradition of excellence, but then the tradition of family is something that I don't think can be matched anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, it's hard to beat the tradition of a sports team. You know what I mean? Like being in that culture. I mean, it's huge.
Absolutely. I think it's, it started with Sharon Backus, and then Sue Inquist, and now Kelly I. And so you've got 3 people that have been holding that torch and carrying it along, and it's very special. And it's just, it's an honor to be a part of.
Yeah, no doubt. I have to ask you about Run the Bases.
Okay.
Tell us how that was formed, and what all that entails.
So Run the Bases is just, it's something that myself and the other co-founders, Kelly and Sebastian, who I met in England, have been working on since 2017. And I'd gone back to school and got my degree in sport, or my master's degree in sport and international development. Basically how you can use sport as a tool to bring communities, people, nations together.
Right.
And did some volunteer work with another organization called Football for Peace. A good friend was running it, and they use soccer in using values-based coaching. And we had gone out with them in Northern Ireland and in the Gambia, and they were using soccer. And I just noticed that the girls were still a little bit timid. And I said, hey, do you mind if we'd maybe try a different sport that gives the girls a level playing field? And I was just lucky enough that they allowed us to do it. And so we started using softball as a way to get more girls playing sports. And so we founded Run the Bases and did a pilot project in Malta, which is a tiny little island between Italy and Africa, and did some work in the UK, and then eventually landed in the Gambia. And the Gambia is on the western coast of Africa. And we're in 5 rural communities there, and about 100 kids and 10 coaches in the Gambia in the South Combo region. So our main goal is to just try and get as many kids to, number one, play sports. Our focus is girls, but we have boys and girls playing in the program. And we also are really focused on education. So before practice, they now have tutoring sessions because, well, number one, because of COVID, they didn't have schooling for 8 months. And number two, we think that that is one of the biggest issues currently there is women and girls are not staying in school as long. And so we just started using baseball and softball, and it's been, we're going on our 4th year here, and we hopefully will get them to play in a tournament in either Europe or in Africa in the under 13s. And just our goal is to make sure that we can support them in the best way possible. And our coaches are still, administering sessions. And it's been my passion project. And together with Kelly and Sebastian, and we've got an intern, Rose, we just have seen this thing grow over the years, and hopefully I'll make it back there in December. I haven't been out there in a year. I normally go every year, but because of COVID, we've been a little bit restricted, and hopefully we'll be able to go back and meet with our team and get them going on some more coaching drills and some more values-based coaching as well.
Yeah, I saw some of the pictures and videos that you posted online of it, and they seem to really enjoy it.
Well, they're incredibly athletic, number one.
Yes.
And it's a new game. Who doesn't love learning a new game?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, I remember the first time I brought out my glove, my leather glove, and you don't even think about these things because, baseball and softball is so ingrained in our society here. We just automatically pretty much know what a glove is. And the day I brought my leather glove out and started playing catch, and the pop of the glove and the ball hitting the glove and just the look of the leather, their faces, they never see anything like it before.
That's awesome.
And, just simply playing catch. And we had a couple of actually coach mentors from the Tasha Watley Foundation join us over there. So we've done a nice little partnership and have brought some young players out there and have them experience coaching and being, in the Gambia. And that has been really special as well. It's just, expanding horizons and bringing cultures together and doing a bit of a cultural exchange and making sure that, everybody is able to see how other people live around the world. And I think that gives you much more understanding and appreciation for human beings and one another.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if anybody wants to check it out, is it runthebases.org?
Yeah, runthebases.org, and we're on Instagram, runthebases_, but all the information's on our website. We're having a big golf tournament here in California soon for a bit of a fundraiser. We had a fun wine night, virtual wine night. Should have invited you. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Can't go wrong with a virtual wine night.
It was fantastic. Folktail Wine supplied all the wine. We had a blast. Yes. So that's been really fun. But yeah, runthebases.org if anybody, or they can email me at tara@runthebases.org, and any questions, would love to answer them.
Awesome. Now, before we get on to the final segment of the podcast, I got to ask about d1softball.com.
Yes. Who
come up with this and how did it form?
D1, actually, we got a brother site in D1 Baseball. I don't know if you're familiar with it. And Kyle Peterson, who is on the baseball side, he's a commentator for ESPN and does some stuff for MLB, was speaking to a few softballers, Jess Mendoza, Michelle Smith, was like, hey, is there a space for softball? And just so happened that I was moving back from Europe and just was in the right place in the right time. They said, hey, Tara, would you want to help us run this thing? And I said, absolutely. And, it was rough because of COVID that first season. We had a third of a season. That was our first season, but I also think it was a blessing because we learned a lot. And now we're able to just cover the sport in a way that I don't think has been done before in as much depth in Division One. You've got other outlets that have been around, but just really lucky to have Rhiannon Potke and Graham Hayes as our senior writers. And they've done a tremendous job in telling stories and making sure that we can provide the best coverage possible and broad-based coverage. We've got the Power Fives, but then you've got these mid-majors, i.e. JMU.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's been a pleasure to be a part of it. And we've got a little bit of a lull, but that lull has been filled by the Olympics. So that's been really fun. And the Florida Gulf Coast League has been a part of it. And you've got USSSA playing, and then Athletes Unlimited in August. So
that's right.
Full slate all summer. And then we'll get straight into fall reports, which is really fun for us because we get to speak to the coaches. We get to talk about the incoming freshmen. We get to talk about what they're seeing on the field in the fall, and then give that to the people because, our sport is growing exponentially. And I think there's a space and place for it. And we just have been really lucky that we've got, the scoreboard. You can look at any score around the entire country at any time. We've got the scoreboard, we've got stats, and, we've got interviews, video interviews. So it's been really fun to be a part of, and just really lucky that, Kyle Peterson, Kendall Rogers, they've been really supportive. And we've got, Jen Schroeder and Amanda Scarborough that we'll chat with every once in a while. And, our sport is just, it needs the coverage, and the girls and women deserve it. And these women on the field should be being covered just as much as the male counterparts. And I think that's what we're just trying to do at our best as possible.
Absolutely. I got to pump the tires on the live scoreboard because, up here in Canada, we don't have the luxury of ESPN, which is terrible. I hate it. But the live scoreboard is so real time and up to date that I could not get over it. And it's unbelievable. Like,
it is. You can look at any game going on at any time.
Yes.
And then if you needed to click on it, it'll take you to the stat tracker. I mean,
everything.
It's got everything you could need. I don't know where else you would go to get I don't think you can go anywhere else to get that. So the scoreboard, it just blows my mind every time. And I use it. And then I've got the app on my phone as well. Yes. I don't know if you have the app, but the app has been so good, especially if I'm at a game or traveling or whatever.
The app is fantastic.
Yeah. And it's, it's reasonable, and you've got everything at your fingertips. You can even, you can read articles.
Yeah.
It's been, we're going into our second year, and I think we're only going to just keep growing and growing. And I can't wait to see what is in store for fall. We've got a few things that are in the works that hopefully will come to fruition here. I just can't quite see them yet.
Yeah. So to all those listening that, aren't subscribed, what does subscribing get you?
So go to d1softball.com, hit subscribe. You get access to the transfer portal, transfer tracker, and all of our interviews and access behind the paywall. Once our fall reports start, you'll have access to every single team that we will be doing interviews with. And right now we've got, USA coverage. We'll have the Athletes Unlimited coverage and anything and everything Division One. So coaching updates, all that. So subscribe, let us know what you think. Always open to hear what our subscribers want and what they want more of. So you can email us at info@d1softball.com and let us know what you think.
Awesome. Actually, I wanted to ask you about I totally just thought of this. Your take on the rumored Oklahoma-Texas move to the SEC.
I mean, that is going to be a super conference.
You think?
Are you in terms of softball? If that happens, I just bye Big 12. I mean, it makes me really sad in that aspect. There goes the Big 12. But if you add Oklahoma and Texas, you got Patty and Mike White now in the SEC with Florida, Bama. I mean, I can't even wrap my head around it at the moment.
I can tell.
I can't even speak about it because the potential for that to actually be real deal
Yeah.
is super exciting and also super scary. I mean, that's going to be it's just going to be a slugfest.
Mhm.
The SEC is already tough enough. And you add OU and Texas. I mean, gosh, that's the Pac better figure it out because it's going to be a tough conference to go after. But
Absolutely.
yeah, the potential for that to happen is, and from what I hear, it sounds like it is going to happen.
Yeah, I know.
And then you're hearing reports that, what is it? Ohio State, Michigan, Clemson,
Yes.
Florida State, potentially a 20-team conference, like a super conference.
That would be insane.
Especially in terms of softball. I mean, I know football, but same thing with softball. That would be, I mean, that's its own moneymaker in itself, which is probably why it's happening.
Yeah. I think Selection Sunday was tough this past season.
I know. Oh, I can't even think about that.
Oh, well. So, all right, Tara, we got a little thing to end the podcast with. I call it Player Association. I'm going to throw it a name to you, and you can chat about them.
Okay.
All right. First one we're going with is Coach Sue Enquist.
Oh, my goodness. Player. She's coach. Gosh, I have so many stories of coach, and I think we all use this just because it's something that was instilled in us. But the biggest thing was always, there's two things you can control. It's your effort and your attitude. And that's not only in softball, it's in life. And I think I've carried that through and tried my best in most aspects of life. And it's been something that has never left me. And she taught us accountability. She taught us hard work. She taught us how to play as a team and be selfless and play for one another, and just really indebted to her and all the life lessons that I learned throughout my 4 years there. And she now helps with our charity Run the Bases, and she's my biggest cheerleader. And it's fun to know coach outside of softball and have her be an incredible mentor and somebody that is always, in your corner, and she will forever be that. And she's that for everybody. And she's an incredibly special human being. And just, gosh, I'm so happy and so just in awe of her, because she gave me an opportunity to play at UCLA, and still to this day, she gives me an opportunity to be better every single day, and just will always love her for that.
Fantastic. Next, we have Lisa Dodd.
Oh my gosh, Dottie. It's so funny. Dodd actually pretty much at one point during club ball lived at my house just because it was easier, so she'd have to drive up from San Diego. So Dodd and I have had a ton of fun times together, and she was probably one of the most fierce competitors I've ever played with. She was the hardest worker. She was the one that we would have weights practice and training table, and then you'd see Dodd out running 6-7 miles. Wow. And her ability to compete, her mental toughness, the way she played the game was something like I've never seen. And being on a team with her for that many years, for 4, 5, 6, 7 years, I got to know her really well. And she was so clutch. And you knew when Dodd was up that we always had a shot, and just had the best time, good times and bad times. I mean, we spent 7 years together, so there's plenty of those. But she was honestly one of the fiercest competitors to be on the field with, and just was always clutch when you needed her.
Awesome. Next is Andrea Duran.
Dre. I actually lived with Dre at UCLA, and she played on the Bat Busters, another Bat Buster, and so with Dodd. And again, her work ethic, same as Dodd, but to almost another level, in that she would come early, stay late, and then she had a way of bringing you along with her. So she was, hey, T, you want to hit, balls after practice with me? And she was really good at that. She was an incredible leader. She got the team to work hard and be accountable. And one of the best gloves, if not the best glove I've ever seen at third.
Right.
And so quick, just so quick to the ball, great reaction. And yeah, I would say the best third baseman I've ever played with.
Wicked. Last one. Jen Schroeder.
Oh my gosh, man, that's another whole podcast in itself.
It's funny. I had Morgan Stewart on here, and I left Jen to the end for her too, and same thing.
Yeah, I mean, I've known obviously Jen since UCLA, so we've been, we've been friends for a long time. I played against her in high school, and she was so annoying. I remember at third. She was just yelling and talking the whole time, or she was catching. And I'm like, ugh. I remember I bunted off of her and was safe. And I was like, oh gosh, maybe she'll just shut up. And then got to meet her at UCLA, and we became best friends. And still to this day, she's probably the one person I talk to all day long. And gosh, she's incredible. And her story is incredible. And she went through a lot of ups and downs at UCLA as a player. But what she's done for our sport, the sport of softball, is pretty much unparalleled. And she has been able to harness her expertise as a catching coach, but mostly as a motivator and somebody who just is there for young athletes and young coaches in her ability to stand up in front of a crowd and get everybody going. And she's always been there for me. She is probably, out of anybody in the world, I would always just want her by my side, because she will go to the ends of the earth for her people. And there are very many people, no matter how busy she is, she'll always pick up the phone. And she's just, like I said, done great stuff for the sport of softball, and also just an incredible friend. Gosh, yeah, I could talk about her forever, but, and we've had some fun times, especially at the World Series. We get in some trouble. We do like to cheer and dance a bit. I can't really do that anymore, but we have some good stories,
awesome.
with that. So yeah, that's my shortened version.
Well, I'd love to have Jen come on here, and if anything, just to talk about Rudy.
Oh, I know.
What a doll.
It's been, honestly, Rudy is just a shining bright light. And anybody that's around her, you just thinking, oh my gosh, this kid, she's the best. And she's growing and she's growing so fast. Yes. I mean, it's like she's a toddler. She's running around like crazy. Yeah. So yeah, bring her on, talk about Rudy. I'm sure Rudy could talk by then, actually. Oh, yeah. She's already talking.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, if Rudy had her own Instagram account, she would have 1 million followers. That's how adorable she is. So,
yeah. Anyway, I second that. I agree.
Tara, I gotta thank you for coming on. This has been fantastic. I've been following you on social media for a while now. Been wanting to talk about your career and talk ball with you, for a while now. But I really want to thank you for coming on, and I wish you nothing but success in everything you do going forward.
Alrighty. Thank you so much for having me. It was always great to chat anytime, anything you need from us, anywhere. D1 softball, run the bases. Yes. Maybe some sailing, motorcycles, whatever you need. I'm around, but thank you so much for having me. Love chatting with you. And let me know what you need from us, because we would love to help you out as well.
Awesome. Fantastic, Tara. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Randy.
Take care.
I love you so. I love you so. I know I never took it serious. Then what we had got fucked up. We grew apart, but in my heart I still love ya. Back at the start I thought it lasted so long. Went by so fast, now it feels like the passion is gone. Everything I loved about you just got picked away. And it really gets to me because I miss some days. You was modest, honest, pretty much your god. It's the farthest thing from bitchy or heartless. And never saw less of the jobless poor head. Even though I couldn't get your
cards and chocolates. You put up with my nonsense day after day. You were one of them types you don't let get away. Shit, we used to get looped together. I remember one time you were so sick we almost puked together. Your mood was better then, but who would've knew what we had? We would soon lose forever. Damn, I still love you.
You were like my sunshine. We were too young for love, but I knew you'd be mine. Had to let you go and get on with my life. Now I got you back, ain't gon' leave it this time. And I know I can always rely when I know you be keeping me high. So I won't let you go, not again, cause I know I learned my lesson. I know I can't take it serious. You gotta know what I'm feeling this. This type of love ain't hard to find, but you know you're always on my mind. I know I can't take it serious.
I'm going through the same thing right now, man.
This type of love
I gotta
ain't
say
hard
something on
to
this one.
find.
Okay, yeah, I know. I said I wouldn't do it, but I did it. And now it got me wishing that my position was switching. Never no hugs, no tongue, never kissing. But keep fucking with it since the first day I hit it. The minute that you talked, I would listen. You made the way that I walk a little different. I like your vibe, like the way that you feel. Your hairstyle from the start, now you're paying my bills. I gotta love it. Yeah, I'm a little obsessed, and I'll confess without you I feel a little depressed. The wife's had it, sick of me giving you my attention. Really, I see a point, but it was never my intention. I'm always talking and bragging you up like, yo, check this, is she amazing or what? And the fatter that you get, the better, I can't complain. The mistress in my life, music before the fame, I love
Girl
it.
knows that you're always on time, and the minute she's gone, you can chill and just fine.
Are you downsizing? Maybe need more room because of additions to the family, or possibly seeking that dream home you've always wanted. Well, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the guy for you. With a proven track record and multiple awards, Tim goes above and beyond to find out your needs and exactly what you're looking for. So if you're seeking a new home or trying to sell your current one, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or check him out on Facebook at Tim Eisner. Again, that's 902-499-5717. Trust me, when all is said and done, we'll be saying Tim Eisner strikes again.